Welcome to the Trailblazers Experience podcast. And my guest is Rachel. She describes herself as a dedicated and results-driven financial resilience consultant, finance director of her own business with a passion for empowering businesses and individuals to thrive financially in and out of the face of economic challenges. She's got 15 years experience in accounting and finance. Welcome, Rachel.
Hi, how are you doing? Thanks for having me. How are
Oh,
you?
brilliant. Yes. Always great to have amazing women on the podcast and someone from the finance industry. I was reading a Gartner survey which said these are the top priorities for CFOs, finance people in 2023. And one of them, it talked about evaluating finance function, strategy, scope, design, but also financial resilience is it's like a buzzword, but it's necessary, especially in the economic downturn.
Oh, well, yeah. It definitely is. It's if you want your business to strive in all economies and to actually attain goals and be able to push and advance, you're going to need financial resilience, you know?
It's a big one.
Mm-hmm.
So you've been in the business for around 15 years in accounting and finance. What led you to take the step to say, do you know what, I'm going to start my own business and focus on consultancy and being the finance director of my own consultancy?
It was kind of a knee-jerk reaction, I'll be fair with you. I had worked at my previous job. I had been there for 5 years, and there was kind of a conflict. I wasn't getting promoted. I had 3 children at the time, and I had just come back from maternity leave, and they had actually changed my role. So there was now 4 people doing my one role. So then I applied to be the manager of the team, obviously, because if I was doing the role by myself for 5 years and now you've got 4 people, rightly so, I would expect myself to be the manager of the team or but I didn't get that role. And fortunately, while I was going through that conflict, someone offered me a role as accounts manager somewhere else. So I took that, and then I grew that function. I was able to increase their turnover and their sufficiency, and so they wanted it to go from a part-time to a full-time because they were growing and growing their branches. So, but I didn't want that because, as I said, I had 3 children. So I just decided to take the leap of faith on myself and use the same template that I had used for their business to create my own clientele portfolio and replicate the same for my own personal clients.
I mean, Rachel, that's an eye opener, isn't it? So you come back from mat leave and there are 3 people doing the role that you used to do yourself. That's the eye opener there to say, actually, I'm very qualified. I know my stuff, and if there's anything that can pivot or just change the direction of your career, you sort of just said, well, I think I need to look at something different.
Yeah, literally. I applied for the position, I wasn't getting it. And then I felt like it was just God, really, because during I was having that conflict, I had only been back 2 weeks after maternity leave, and then I got called for that other position. So I just went there. I was there for a year. I was able to use the same templates that I probably would have used at my position there, and to grow their turnover. They were able to get to a position where they were actually able to replicate that business and, branch out. So yeah,
Yeah,
sometimes you've got to be pushed in it to actually take that leap of faith on yourself.
I think that's it. I always say when you've got a setback, that's actually, for you to now reposition yourself and think about how do I come back bigger and better as well.
Yeah, and I think for me, because I'm like, at the time I was a mother of 3 children and like the breadwinner. So I guess it was like probably easier to stay comfortable, stay in a position, where I know I've got consistent regular income, because the weight of the family kind of rests on you. You don't want to change the stability. So you kind of have that pressure. But I feel like, yeah, actually being forced out of that position really helps me to grow and be able to position the family better and give me more
Yeah,
time for the family.
definitely. So let's go back 15 years ago because you've got all these
Yeah.
qualifications, ACCA, AAT, BSc, and all of them, all the acronyms. But when did you fall in love with finance? Because it's not a natural thing for many people, I suppose.
Yeah. So I guess it's like home life. So like for me, even with my children, I'm like, home is the first teacher. So my mum, she's an immigrant from Jamaica. English is not really like her greatest language, her greatest subject. But maths, she's really good at maths. So she used to teach me the timetable, teach me how to tell the time. So before I was even into school, I was able to tell my times table and stuff like that. I have a lot of older brothers and older cousins, so we used to watch a lot of like gangster movies and stuff like that. And the key person was always like the lawyer or the accountant. So I just had
That is true. I like that. Even a pimp, even a drug dealer needs a finance man, a finance.
so it just led me to that. I was already into the number things because that's what my mum did with us, you know what I mean? So then it just like, this is what I want to do. So literally from I was 6 years old, I knew I wanted to be like either an accountant or a business lawyer. Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, that's interesting. So, did your mom then know that you were good at maths and numbers and
Yeah,
just,
she knew I was good at maths, and my mum
you
always
know,
had this attitude. I think like a lot of immigrants have it, or they're just like whatever you want, you can be. Like, do you know what I mean? There's nothing holding you back. Work 10 times harder. She just used to make me practice. You
yeah,
know, she used to tell me whatever you want to be, you can be. So I never had it in my mind that it wasn't possible until I went to secondary school and I wanted to do stuff, and I was just so restricted. The stuff I wanted to do, I wasn't allowed to do. You know, is that those were the only times when it was like an outsider made me think that things that you wanted was not possible. Yeah.
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 So moving on to your professional background, because obviously you specialize in financial resilience. When did you know? Because obviously you said you've improved people's customers or clients turnover. When did you know that actually there's something here and this has legs in terms of doing it for myself? I mean, you've talked about the providing for your family
Yeah.
and moving to a new role, but at what point, when was the turning point and you said, do you know what? I think I might have a portfolio of clients or build that myself and build a business.
Mm. So, to be honest, I feel like when I went into accounting, I always knew that I'd want to have my own business. I have a lot of family like that are artists or in the entertainment business. So originally, I would have had an accountancy firm just tailoring to artists and stuff like that, and that's really the niche that I was kind of marketing for. But when I had my children, as I said, it kind of went to the wayside. So I'd say just like literally just a knee jerk reaction when after I went to the other role and they wanted me to go full time, I was really comfortable, you know, doing working the hours that I wanted part time, being able to be there for my children. There was no way I was going back. So that was it. That was the point where I was like, that's not going to be for me. So the next day, literally, I went Gumtree and I put up advertisements for my services, and I started looking for people that were looking for like sole traders and stuff that were looking for accountants and bookkeepers to do their accounts.
And you've just hit the nail on the head there. You just said you went back to basics. You were like, I am looking for sole traders who are looking for accounts and build up that base. That's
Literally.
pretty smart, you know.
Yeah,
Because
that's
I
what.
think most of the time people always have this myth that starting your own business you have to have some swanky office, some swanky profile, and look for that one shark, catch the one shark. But
Yeah,
actually starting small, building your portfolio,
yeah.
that's sort of the way to go.
No, literally, yeah. And then so and a lot of the clients, they have their own offices and they're not even occupying their offices, so they'll leave you to be there the whole time, you know. So you're there by yourself doing the accounts or whatever, and you're able to network with other businesses that might be in that complex. So if it's a shared office space, you're able to network with them. And also using LinkedIn. So like, you know, philanthropists used to reach out to me and start through LinkedIn. So I've got a lot of clients that way. And even as a small or up and coming firm, you can also reach out and partner with what do you call them, recruitment firms, so like Reed or like a Robert Haas or something like that, and then actually get the contract through your limited company and build up your portfolio that way also. So that
That's
was the other route, sorry, that I took.
very smart.
Yeah.
What aspects of running your own business do you find the most rewarding? What are you enjoying at the minute?
The most rewarding is being able to be there for my children. So the first, I'd say 2.5 for my children. I wasn't I wasn't there for them. I worked literally, like when my daughter was one, I went back to work. Same with my son when he got to one, went back to work, and the cycle went on with my third child until I got the opportunity, to like literally work somewhere that was 10 minutes down the road for only like 2 to 3 hours a day. And if I wanted to, I could bring in breastfeed him in the office.
Yeah, so it's that
So
flexibility, isn't
it's
it?
that flexibility, and that it just gave me back like it just allowed me to like gave me back my feminine energy. I don't know if that like do you know what I mean? It allowed me that space to just breathe. Do you get me? And lift. I
Yeah.
think like that's the most honest and authentic way I could just put it. Yeah.
Yeah. And is there, thinking about that, if you were to talk to someone who's, a woman who maybe also has, children like you and is in the finance industry, based on your experiences, what are some of the things that you think um, have stood out for you in terms of the main challenges maybe that you may have faced currently?
Um Wait, sorry, currently or back then entering stage?
Yeah, well, yeah, just in general, because you've got children and
Yeah.
working in finance, it's probably more structured, more the flexibility maybe might not have been there.
Yeah, I guess now there's flexibility. You're able to work from home, so just have a structured day, still have a structured day, plan your day out, get up as usual, get up and get yourself dressed and have a separate place to work from your home. So even if you're working from home, maybe find like a cafe or a library that you can go to be able to do your work, just to get yourself out of that environment. Otherwise, you're going to find yourself finding things to do in the house because that's just what mothers do. So I'd give that advice. But I'd say entering, I'd just be like, have a clear plan and a pathway of what you want to do. So if you want to be a bookkeeper or an accountant, do you want to go through with your ACCA? What is your actual path? What do you plan to do with it? Would you like to be an FD in the long run? Or are you going to be someone that's going to be happy doing data entry? Actually decide what you want to do and make a path and a plan. And actually, once you decide what you want to do, start dressing like that person, start acting like that person, like you're in that position already. Give yourself that authority and audacity to act like you're that person already. That's what I'd say.
I like that. Act like the role you want to actually be
Mhm.
in,
Yeah,
embody it and work towards it.
definitely.
That's a very good tip already. So financial resilience,
Mhm.
UK is in an economic downturn.
Yeah.
So, but also there are lots of new businesses that I think sprouted up during the years of the pandemic. So there's a change, isn't it? There's an economic downturn on one hand, but on the other hand, there are lots of entrepreneurs, lots of people starting their own businesses,
Yeah.
and you're specializing in that. What pathway have you then set yourself for the next 2 to 3, 5 years? Where do you see yourself going?
So for the next 2 to 3, 5 years, as you said, there's a lot of startups and new businesses coming up, and I feel like I want that to be my key focus because, as we know, a lot of startups do tend to fail within the first 3 years. So I feel like it's really key because we want the UK to be more innovative. We want to have like more success. We want the economic turnover, and we want it to be consistent, long term. We was tired of short term, success. We want something that's long term that can rejuvenate the economy and provide more jobs, breathe more life into the younger people as well, to be creative and actually, be able to see and have visualize where I want to fit into this society. I feel like when there's lack of opportunity or everyone's negative about the economy or inflation, when people are scared of inflation, whereas for me, inflation excites me and it motivates me. It's like, what more can I do? And I feel like that's the kind of impacts that I want to have. And I feel like by working with startup businesses and driving them to success so that they can replicate that, so they can diversify their portfolios, is really what's going to help to do that turnover and that change for me. That's how I can add value apart, aside from just financial value to my clients.
Yeah, and every business or every person needs financial literacy, isn't it? It's
Mhm.
interesting how I think that the stats, if we were to look at the stats or research, financial literacy isn't a strength of many individuals.
Exactly.
So having someone who they can trust with the direction of their business, their cash flow, their balance sheet, I think is
Exactly.
important. Are there
Yeah.
specific sectors that excite you where you'd say, you know what, this is a sector I'd like to focus on?
To be fair, I don't. So I also have ADHD, yeah, which means why I think I enjoy accountancy even further because it allows me to go into different industries. So there's no form of boredom for me because it's transferable skills, the same financial skills, but transferable to any industry. So I
Yeah.
feel like that's where I really thrive as well because it's like the ADHD makes it exciting to puzzle solve, be analytical, and to just think really, really outside of the box of that industry. Maybe I'm applying something for construction into, I don't know, the healthcare system or something like that, or something that the architect industry might use, I might be able to use for educational and NHS services. So something like that. So I feel like that's the best I can answer that question for you.
And also it keeps you, I think it keeps it interesting, isn't it? Imagine if you just had one niche, but you
Yeah,
love different puzzles, pulling them together. That's a very good way to
yeah.
describe it. Yeah.
Yeah.
So you've talked about you're a mother of 3 children.
No, I have 5 in total.
You're building your own accountancy firm, basically.
Oh, the empire for them to control at home.
Exactly.
Yeah, yeah.
How do you prioritize self-care and just maintaining a healthy work-life balance? What do you do when you're not mom and running your own business?
Well, first and foremost, I'm Rachel Kerr. That's who I am first. Like,
Yes,
I feel
girl.
like need to let mothers be proud to say, I am me first. I
Yes,
am me first. Just like in an aeroplane, you have to put on your own mask first. You have to take care of yourself first. You should always be a priority. And I don't feel guilty about that anymore. I let go of the society guilt and the home guilt. And that's just how I live my life now. That's the best example I could set for my children to put myself first, you know? And in
definitely.
that way, they get the best of me and they're able to, to thrive in that environment too, because there's no splitting of me. They all get individual time as well, collective family time. So yeah, that's how I prioritize it by putting myself first, blocking out my mentor. She suggested to me blocking out time on my calendar for important days. So, when I start my work here, I know what days are family days, what days are for myself. And then I also do therapy as well, which is something personal for yourself. So that's also how I ensure that I have self care and prioritize myself.
That is so important. So I think it also helps you maintain resilience from a personal perspective
Mhm.
and professional. Putting yourself first is the first step, isn't
Yeah,
it?
yeah,
Because so often as women we lose ourselves because we're caregivers, natural caregivers. We're usually the ones looking after the tribe, thinking of everyone else. So to take that space back is so
yeah.
key.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Yeah, because I only recently got diagnosed with ADHD, um, April this year, and then last year I was diagnosed with like complex PTSD, and it's like because as women we have a lot of coping mechanisms that cover up anything
Mhm.
that we might be going over, going through. So that's why I'm like, and I always used to think that I prioritize myself and put myself first. I always actually thought that. But just as you said, it can be a thinking, a thinking and a feeling, but it's not actually an action. So it's following through and going through with that action, seeing something actual, like in fruition, that you can see that actually, yeah, I've done this for myself.
Do you know what? Honestly, Rachel, kudos to you just even for sharing, for opening up and sharing that. So, what, you were diagnosed, but did something within you, did your instinct then say, I think I have something and I need to know what it is? Because most people just go through life on that, constant treadmill. But yeah,
Yeah, I did think there was something wrong with me all the time. I'm not gonna
what is this superpower that keeps me going? Yeah.
tried like I think it might be maybe 2012 or 13, like the life coaches and all that stuff. But really, in 2020, 2020, I got a new mentor. So, and she heads a great organization called a Diverse Creative, which does a lot of work with like neurodiverse people. So I knew I was dyslexic and I'm dyspraxic because I'm always falling over and I muddle up my letters and my words all the time. And she's my mentor and she just encouraged me. A lot of the work that she did with me, she just used to say little things and it kind of like used to make me think. And then I started working on my own HR and accountancy software.
Mm-hmm.
And I got to a really like good milestone and a goal with it, and I just like plateaued, and I really couldn't push forward like with it, and it just really made me like frustrated that even though I wanted to and I had all the gumption and all the tools, I just couldn't. And so that just really pushed me to just go and pay and get my diagnosis.
Oh, that's amazing. And
Yeah,
neurodiversity is something that should be celebrated. You know,
yeah,
it's described as just a unique way that your brain is working. That's basically
100%.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's talk about this software. So, what made you come up with the idea of pulling this software together?
So initially, I had worked on a app that was for my accountancy firm. It was just going to be an accountancy app. But then the more I dug into it and I thought about it, my just the ADHD mind, I guess, the analytical mind, just my experience as an accountant, all the struggles that we have of, compiling what we need, it just really made me think, no, this is what we need, this is what we need. I'm going to build it out to this, to where I thought, actually, this is actually a structure that can actually change business and how we do finance within organizations across the board as a whole. So, yeah.
Oh,
It
that's
really kind
brilliant.
of built out from there, yeah. So where we could just control HR, control accountancy, um, production, sales, etc., pull all that information together. So there's more coherent, more, a more streamlined flow of information. And I feel
Yeah.
like that's where resilience come in, where you have when there's clarification, you have a clear detail of your numbers, of your stats, of your KPIs, of your margins, etc. You're able to, be more productive, be more efficient.
That's a brilliant tool, and it's something that you can continue to develop and potentially roll out. I mean, it has scope then to become even much bigger, doesn't it?
100%, yeah, 100%.
Yeah. How do you deal with client demands and deadlines? Because they can be really intense. Because we're now speaking to the potential small business owner out there who's
Yeah.
navigating the same way as you, who's probably a financial advisor or consultant. How do you navigate client demands with your own business?
Um,
So setting boundaries, I guess, isn't it?
Yeah, I was gonna say, yeah, I was gonna ask you to specify. So I guess at the beginning, when you start up, you just want clients, because you're not getting in the funds. You just want the clients, clients,
Mm.
clients. But I feel like actually take a minute. I'm closing my eyes because I'm thinking about my own ethos. Like, what is my ethos? Like what are my core values? And I feel like once you have that, you can pick and align your clients in order with your core values and your ethics. And I feel like that will help to you being a yes person. That will help you to be able to say, I have a clear line of who I'm going to say no to. And your time commitments, be honest with yourself about what you can commit to as well. Don't overcommit to yourself and then ruin your character and your reputation because you can't fulfill them.
That is so true. I mean, because the dynamic nature of the financial industry, it's so important to maintain balance. But, when you're a new business, you're trying to bring all the clients in and
Yeah.
say yes, but it's striking that balance of what you can actually deliver for them as well.
Exactly. And don't be scared to reach out to people around you, because along your way to be even a qualified accountant, you would have encountered a lot of people. So stay in contact with those people. Like a lot of people that mentored me and helped me with tax specialists and stuff like that. With my clients, I would have reached out to them and asked them for advice. So maintain a good, strong, healthy network of other financial experts around you.
Let's talk about networking, because it's not easy, isn't it, for people to build a network, but it
Yeah.
feels like you've built yours along the way. So for each different stage level of your career, that's how you sort of built those building blocks, isn't it?
Yeah, that's how it's been. It's just kind of been natural, because I would say that I'm a naturally awkward person. That's why I said I've always known there's something wrong with me.
You're unique, girl.
Yeah. Like, I don't know, like, some of the issues that I know people in our community face have been different from me, I guess, like,
Yeah.
more, I guess, more passive and stuff like that. But yeah, just building connections, being confident, having the audacity. So, yeah. I feel like just my home training helped that. My mum used to tell me I'm a queen all the time, so I'd walk into a room, my head up strong. When I'm shaking his hand, it's a strong, firm handshake, I'm looking in your eyes. These are the things that build up trust. Like, before you even open up your mouth to validate the experience or the knowledge that you have or the value that you can add to the company, is these kind of things as well that kind of add it. So now I don't feel uncomfortable having piercings or having tattoos now. Now I don't feel uncomfortable having that, because I know that I can be assertive. My presence and how I look is assertive in another way, how I contact with you. So yeah, I feel like that's helped a lot.
Exactly. Yeah, I think owning the room, isn't it? Owning the space that you're in is
Literally.
important, and you are a queen. And once you exude that, that's already the first step to. And what's the worst that can happen? I've always said, you walk into a room, you speak to someone, you don't communicate, it doesn't gel. Okay, you keep it moving, isn't it? There's
You're
someone.
building a skill, you're building a resilient skill, same way, you're building
Yeah,
something in yourself, within yourself. It's all about self. And once you stop projecting about what it's about outside, that's when you can start getting the value.
exactly.
Mm-hmm.
You mentioned core values and ethics. What
Yeah.
are your core values,
My
Rachel?
core, my, sorry, go on, finish your question.
No, I just said your name at the end.
My core values will be to be authentic.
Mm.
So I just believe in being authentic, honest, and transparent. Mainly because I'm ADHD and I just don't have the I can't keep up a pretense. So I just
Yeah,
want to, I can't keep up a pretense, and I feel like to get the best out of any relationship, transparency is needed, authenticity is needed, and honesty. I want to know what your strengths are. I want to know what your weaknesses are, and likewise, I want you to know what mine are, so we can see if there's a balancing out, and we can actually work towards that. So I feel like that's one of my core ethics. Also, it doesn't take nothing. So, as in, it doesn't take nothing. It doesn't take nothing to be kind. It doesn't take nothing to share. It doesn't take nothing to do this for another person, even if it's not in my job role. So, I feel like it doesn't take nothing for us to succeed together. So, that's the best way I could describe that additional part of my ethic.
yeah. And for those who maybe might not be watching the podcast, so Rachel has got her tattoos, she got her face beat, she's got her piercings. She is authentic. She really owns, her look, and she looks amazing. For the last time I saw her as well. And I think that's it. You have to be the most authentic version of yourself and own that space. And you're an intelligent, financial director as well. So
Thank you. Yeah.
that's so important. You talked about mentorship and how that's been important. And what led you to say, actually, I do need a mentor in my life? And how has that helped you with coping with your work-life balance, professional and personal as well?
Because I see myself having international success, so I don't see myself being limited to even just being a financial consultancy or just having a software that takes over Microsoft. I see myself being in other industries as well and
Mhm.
international. And so obviously I need mentorship. A leader always needs to know how to be, needs to be led, also needs to be teachable. I'm very teachable. I'm very open to new skills. And I know I can't manage everything myself. I also need accountability and structure. Accountability is also good, and someone also to remind you of what you actually have achieved, because I forgot so much of what I was doing because I was just on the go. I kind of really forgot. So yeah, I feel like there's so many different benefits that I've received from having mentorship, but to name a few, those are it. So accountability. What else did I say? I know you don't.
Yeah, well, someone who, yeah, you said accountability, and also someone who reminds you of your achievements and the things that you've done as well. Yeah, yeah. And how did you find your mentor? Is it, was it dropped in your lap, or did you go seeking for it? Did you, how
One
did,
of them I went seeking for them. One of them I went seeking for them, and I've literally messaged them all the time on Instagram.
I love it. I love that.
Literally, no, literally. But like I saw her at an event, and then from the event I just started messaging her, and then she opened up. Maybe like 2 years later, she opened up like a mentorship program, and so I was one of the first people she reached out to.
Oh, that is brilliant. That
Yeah,
is resilience right there, isn't it?
another lady, Remy, I had encountered her on Instagram again, And then I reached out with her and I booked my mentoring sessions with her. And through her, I was able to launch my first prototype of my software. Launched that. I was able to what else have I done? I've got featured in Black Girl Finance. So I don't know if you've read that book by Selena.
Yes.
A few things. Also, through her mentorship, I was also able to find out that I did have ADHD. She runs a lot of projects, a lot of programs for business boot camps for directors. So I was able to plug into those as well. So, yeah, just reaching out, harassing people. Like, if you want it, you have to just go out after it. I believe in my faith, so sometimes you just got to knock, keep knocking, as I did with Chica. So yeah, literally.
Do you know, you have just described, it's sort of like a mini blueprint. So there's a thing about, you may want to mentor, but you also have to be proactive in, seeking the opportunities or people that can help you, and also know what you're looking for as well. Because you've touched on the prototype of your software, the circles you want to get into. You also have a clear vision for yourself of what you're looking for. And I think that helps mentors in terms of how they guide when you already know what you're worth, what your value is, and where you're trying to take your life.
100%. Yeah, that's why I mentioned earlier. It's a good idea to map out what you want, your goals, and actually visualize it, write it down, and start acting there. And God will plug you with you'll start seeing those people, and it's for you to take the audacity to actually take the step to reach out or to walk in it.
Yes, yeah. So you've talked about Black Girl Finance, so we're going to put that in the show notes so people can have a read of that as well. You've talked about your software. What are some things that you're working on? What's brewing in your pipeline, or some achievements that you want to talk about that are coming up?
So I will be focusing a lot on the financial resilience side. I have created a workshop because I also want corporations to incorporate financial resilience for their staff. So start training their staff on it, not only for business level, but also on a personal level, because I believe if people are financially strong and happy with their personal finances, they'll be more productive and efficient within the workplace. So I've created a few workshops for that. And also, I've been doing my YouTube a bit more, just talking about my ADHD journey, and just talking about being a bit more committed to the community, talking about, just strengthening your own financial knowledge. I think a lot of my work this year is on character and very much personal. The software will be launching in March 2024, open to the market. And yeah, so a lot of the work just be more personal character work. I do have a mentoring subscriptions program for young children or young girls aged 7 to 17. It's a monthly subscriptions that parents or guardians can get for a young girl. They get a monthly package in the post. It's tailored around adolescence. It opens up conversations in the home that are often explored outside with friends or society. So I just want to empower the home again, bring those conversations back in the home, and actually also give the young girls a safe community where they can explore and, question these stuff. So they'll be able to have their own online community of girls within their age group and mentoring with them. So those are the few of the things that I've been working on.
That's a lot. You're so modest, and you're like, yeah, I've just got these few things.
That's it.
Amazing. The thing about the mentorship for 7 to 17 and making it relevant to now. I was listening to a podcast, and Professor Scott Galloway was talking about how he's writing a book about masculinity now. So something that's relevant for young boys growing up now. And I think that's similar with, our young women, our young girls. They need advice, mentorship related to what's going in this world. When I was growing up, there was no social media, so there were different challenges we're navigating, and now it's how do we mentor, inspire, bring those conversations back to the home, so that we have empowering young women going out there into the community and living their best lives.
Exactly. And younger as well, not waiting for teenage years when they're ready at school and being programmed by outside. I think that's the dismemberment there a little bit.
Yeah,
And we will be doing stuff with young boys as well.
yeah,
Definitely included them and stuff like that, because I feel like they can get left out a lot of the times also. So we want to include them to be having the same program and getting something nice in the package, because in the post, you know.
yeah.
So yeah,
I
I'm
mean,
excited.
amazing. And the fact that, you talked about I'm Rachel Kerr first. You're owning it, all sides of it. I'm looking at this Venn diagram. So you're in the middle, there's the business, there's the family, there's the neurodiversity, there's the software, there's you giving back to the community. It's really inspiring, and also one of the reasons why I wanted to have you on the podcast, just to showcase that as well.
Yeah, I appreciate that. It's really a pleasure to be here.
Yeah. So circling back, we've talked about so many things. One of the things I've learned doing the podcast is when we talk about Trailblazer takeaways. So this is you summarizing the tips you'd give to your younger self or your children. What would they be?
Treat your life like an organization. You
Yeah,
are the entity, definitely.
that needs to go on a t-shirt.
That's what I would say, literally.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's a good one.
that's how I'd say it. That's it.
Yeah. Oh, that's brilliant.
Mm.
I mean, Rachel, thank you so much for your time. Really very colorful way of demonstrating the fact that you've started your own business. We will hear from you in the future, and I look forward to inviting you back onto the podcast to tell me how it's all going. But thank you so much.
I appreciate your time today. Thank you very much. I look forward to seeing your podcast grow and being back again.
Definitely. And we'll put all the things we've talked about, the organizations, etc., in the show notes so people know where to find them. So
All
this
right.
has been the Trailblazers Experience podcast. You know where to find us. Tell another woman about the podcast. And thank you.
Thank you. Take care of yourself.